Record on this computer. Sammy and Beth, how the hell are you guys? Nice to meet you guys.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, no, thanks for agreeing to do this because like I know we don't know each other, right? But I grew up in Bakersfield. But I grew up in Lamont, right?
Okay.
So we had the whole. Are we going into town? Who's going into town today? Let me catch
Yeah, okay. Even if you're in Lamont, you're in Arvin, you live in Bakersfield. That's what it is.
Yeah. Because once they closed the Safeway down in Arvin, yeah, we always went into Bakersfield, and I moved to Sacramento about 7 years ago. I love Sacramento, but one thing I will always tell Sacramentans is that you guys can't touch Bakersfield's music scene. You can't do it.
Yeah.
Like Bakersfield's music scene is amazing, and I love to describe it as like you could go out on a Thursday night at 7 o'clock and watch just this badass like roots kind of rock reggae sounding band go to another bar at 9 o'clock and see like this heavy metal band, and then go to another bar at 11 o'clock and the lead singer from that first band is now on drums and is playing like some jazz fusion stuff, and like you kind of see like the same five guys kind of floating around everywhere. You're like, weren't you the guy? Weren't you, and that's my dogs. Hold on a second. Hey, knock it off.
I did too.
Elsie. Oh man. That's home. So why don't you guys introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about there's a lot to tell. So I don't know, maybe lay some groundwork and then we'll get into it.
Where do we even start?
I know, right?
So I'm Beth. I started Revolution Vintage about 2 years ago as a vintage clothing shop. I started it online, and then I had a great opportunity to rent a space inside Throwback Junction shortly after that. So I set up shop, and I've been running that about 2 years now. And then about 3 months ago, about three to 4 months ago, Sammy was doing some record stuff and with his own records and helping a couple other people out. And we just were like, we could do this for reals. Like, we could do this for reals. And so we added the label to the brand, and here we are.
Your buttons.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. Beth, I saw you wrote somewhere that you had once dreamed of working for Third Man Records.
Yeah. Like oddly, like not even like ironically, I'm like wearing the shirt.
Look at that.
Yeah. Yeah. That was my absolute dream. I wanted to be part of the process. I have been listening to vinyl records since I was a kid. And when my father passed when I was like almost 2 years old, and so I never knew him, but I had his record collection. And
so you knew him now you're learning about him, right?
Yeah, and that's so growing up, I had a record player and I listened to these records all the time, and it was so weird to me that like no one else listened to records, like it was like a weird thing, like because I was elementary school, junior high, and no one had any clue what like records were. And that was so normal to me, and I loved it, and I loved finding one and putting it on for the first time, and just became super obsessed with, oh my God, you can get these like variant colors, and you can get like all these different things, and it just became like this hunt, and it's just, I loved the process of it. And what Third Man did for vinyl records was so crazy, because he really just said, how can we just take this record and take it further? Like, what are the things we could do with it? And I just was just obsessed with everything he was doing. And I was like, I want to be part of that process. Like, I want to do weird things. Like, he was putting out, like, he put out Karen Nelson's record, and it smelled like peach. It was a peach record that smelled like peach, and was like, what? And then, like, he released the Jay-Z Magna Carta album, where it was like, you had to cut the jacket in order to get a secret track flexi out of the, like, I wanted to do that. Like, I wanted to be part of it.
The label peel too.
Yeah, it was just like, there's so many crazy things. And I was like, what? And like, I wanted to do that. I wanted to be part of that process. I wanted to make vinyl records that were so cool to people that it made them appreciate this way of listening to music.
And I remember, and Third Man Records, for those who don't know, is Jack White of the White Stripes record label that he started in Nashville. Is it in Nashville? Like the actual studio? Yeah, in Nashville, Tennessee. And I remember like when the White Stripes were like just hitting, and it was like probably like 94, 96. And I remember just reading about like all of the stuff that he was doing, that he planned to do with vinyl. And I remember this is like mid 90s, and I was like, who the fuck cares about vinyl anymore?
Yeah, right.
But I mean, I was interested, but I was like, this is not, I was like, he's truly like an Andy Warhol type creative guy that just like, he just does whatever he wants. And I was like, I don't know if it's going to be successful. Like, I really thought that, but probably shows why I haven't started a business, because look at the vinyl resurgence now. And where is this marketplace that you have the shop set up? Is it you're calling it? Where did you say the shop is? Like,
so we have a space inside of Throwback Junction.
Yeah, what's Throwback Junction?
So Throwback Junction is a local thrift vintage store. It's at 1018 18th Street. I've been working with them for a little over a year now. And they have, like, I have a space in there that I kind of like, sub rent, as like a thing. And it's just kind of, we've grown to have an awesome partnership with them.
Is that up like by where the old Montgomery Ward Plaza was, or up like where?
No, it's like on the way to Cafe Smitten. Like when you go past like Rice Bowl and Bill Lee's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's over there. It's down that way on 18th.
Oh, it's down that way on 18th Street. Okay. All right. So like if you're going up Chester and you're gonna hang a right, not a left on 18th Street.
Yeah, you hang a right on 18th from Chester. It's gonna be on your left hand side.
Awesome.
It's like 2 blocks.
It's like 2 blocks past Billy's.
And 2 blocks from if you're walking down Trucks and walk 2 blocks left from Rabobank. It's right there.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's a nice area. That's like that whole area is coming up, right?
Yeah, it's like an up and coming.
Yeah. Isn't that exciting?
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah,
it's cool. Like it's been really cool to be able to have an actual physical space.
Yeah.
Able to set everything up and have all these things and visions I have, because I wanted to open a vintage store since I was 13 years old. And to see like be able to like actually have that and like have that space, be able to do that's been really awesome.
What are some of your dad's favorite records that you like kind of like are the hidden gems of your dad's collection, where you're like, wow, this really reminds me of him, or this really hits a spot in my childhood or my teenage years?
So Carole King, absolutely, he loved Carole King. So that was Carole King. He was a real big Willie Nelson guy.
Okay.
My mother will tell you to this day, if Willie Nelson's bus pulled up, she'd be gone. That was it. She loves them. So those are really the ones. Like my dad really liked female songwriters. So that was always like really big to me growing up, like, and listening to those is really like, he loved the female singers and he really supported them. And it drove me to want to do the same thing, like.
Yeah, when I was growing up, I didn't have that appreciation for the female songwriter. Like I was I realized that when I look at my record collection, that I didn't get that appreciation for the female songwriter until the 90s. Like when like Alanis Morissette and like Jewel and like Sarah McLachlan and all of those artists.
Fair Crew. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Lilith Fair Crew. Yes. I went to all 3 of those. They were so much fun. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So you have this fascination for vintage. You start the vintage, and then you realize that you could bridge Sammy's love of like what he's doing with his music into the whole Revolution vintage thing, right? So how did that start? And tell us a little bit about like the whole, because you guys are doing lathe cut records, and right,
Mhm.
And that's something that I had to research the other day, and like probably the night before I messaged you guys, like I was like, what is this lathe cut? Because like I had heard the whole third man process, right? Of how even like how he has that special recording studio where he could lay down a live record. Do you
Yeah.
have any of his live records like straight to?
I
I
don't
just
have, I don't have any of the straight
I
two.
have 2 7 inches so at Third Man they have a booth that has a little guitar in it, and you can go and record a song.
oh wow.
That like I have 2 of them that I did.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome.
It's literally like a phone booth with the same machine that our cutter uses to make records.
Okay. So tell us about lathe cut and like how you maybe even walk us through like your whole process of like, I'm gonna do this, I'm interested, I got the machine, I'm gonna cut my first lathe cut.
Yeah. So the whole point of the label kind of started because I don't want to go on tour anymore.
Gotcha.
I've been doing it for a very long time, and I'm tired, man. I'm burnt out, and we got married, and there's some kids involved now, and I, I'd rather be dad than be rock star.
Man, that's fair.
So this whole the whole label kind of really started as a means for me to have my foot in the industry in some facet. So I'm not just like stuck on Glory Days. Like I can still be working, I can still help bands, I can still hang out with my buds. A majority, if not all the records are our friends.
Okay.
So we started doing these the lathe cut records. So there are these essentially like a wood lathe. It spins and you cut it in, and you make your baseball bat or your table leg. So the same concept is done. It's all the records are cut in real time. So the side A is 18 minutes and 40 seconds. It takes 18 minutes and 40 seconds for them to make that side of the record.
Okay.
They're made on polycarbonate discs. And our buddy Tony in Easton, Pennsylvania I think he has 7 machines running right now. And that's what he does. He just makes these records.
And they're
so you first.
Yeah, they're beautiful. I have
Danny Rebel.
I have this one right here. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love the whole packaging is so great because it's so simple, but it has that homemade feel, and it really has that well, I don't need to say it has that independent feel because it is absolutely independent. And to think that an independent label could put something this beautiful out in 2020, like if you couldn't have thought to have done this like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. This would have set you back so many resources and just so much money, and it just it wouldn't have happened, right? But now, like just with this dream, and my favorite Spanish word, these ganas, to get something done, you guys are doing it, and I couldn't wait to. You guys sent me this one, and you guys sent me another 12-inch. The guy from New York,
Vic. Yeah.
Yes.
So that Danny record is the oddity of the label. So I just ran a grab record. So all the records we do, I hand print all the jackets on brown cardstock.
Wow.
Like same with the 10-inch, and then the LPs. So that Danny is a really phenomenal artist, and Danny asked to do that painting that he painted that cover. So Danny and Farewell Space Cadet are the only two. Yeah. So Danny hand painted that.
Okay.
And he wanted to use that as a cover, so we said, sure, of course.
Yeah.
And where's Danny from? Because that has a very, very Bakersfield vibe, doesn't it?
Totally, it is. He's from a neighborhood called Verdun. It's about 5 miles outside of city center Montreal.
Oh,
it's essentially like the Brooklyn to New York City.
That's awesome. what made you guys, and you, I think Beth, you kind of hinted at it one time. There was a post on Facebook about something blah blah blah, and I said I would love to see a Bakersfield project of putting all of the old best Bakersfield bands on vinyl, and you commented we might have something for you, and then it was about a week or so later that you guys announced the project that you guys are kind of working on now. You guys want to talk about that? I mean, we definitely got to talk about that because I have a list of what I would love to see on vinyl.
Let's see that list. Get it out. Let's see.
Let's hear you guys talk about what you're doing first. Then I'm gonna talk. Then I'm gonna bring my list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 projects I'd love to see on vinyl.
So I was talking with a friend of mine who was talking about wanting to help a local business, and he was like, we were kind of thinking, he had this unreleased record, and he was like, we're kind of thinking about maybe putting it out there and selling it, and helping them out. And I was like, well, that's really cool, and we can, if we would love to help you with that. And then I kind of was just like, what if we did this with other bands in town, and because there's a lot of businesses that are, our friends and people, that were involved in the music industry and stuff that had shutdowns because of the pandemic and stuff like that. And I was like, what if we took these bands that people loved and still love to this day and released them, and were able to help out our friends, that are closed down? Because I feel like Bakersfield thrives on its music history, and not just like the Buck Owens history, but like I call, when I talk to Sam about it, like I say, like the Gate days, and stuff like that, where there was so much music being put out. And like you said, like this guy was in this band, but then he was also in this band. And then and everyone played.
Mikey Lee.
Yeah. Like
Mikey Lee.
Mikey Lee in every band,
Cesario
in every band, but everyone just worked so well together and had all these things, and didn't just sit on them, and didn't just say like, yeah, that'd be cool if we just kind of no, everyone did it. Like everyone was like, let's get together, let's put this music out there. And the shows were always so great. And I feel like over the years, it's kind of, I wouldn't say like died out, but venues shut down, certain promoters were no longer here and stuff like that. And it definitely got smaller. And it got pushed more of like the bar scene, where you had to be 21 in order to go see these shows and stuff like that. And I was hearing a lot of people just talk about, like, oh, the music scene just it's not like what it was. It's nothing like what it was. And it's not going to change unless you make the change. You have the ability to bring that back, and that's what I've always thought. And I've always wanted to find some way to get that going again, and to get people excited about making music with each other and having these shows, and, bringing this camaraderie back. Because really, like, essentially, if you see now, like those people that were there at the Gate and there at Jerry's in that time are still family to this day, and still make music to this day. And it really brought that kind of thing in this community. And I wanted to really, when I put that post out there of like, if an old band put out a record, who would you want to see, to really see like, and get people talking again of this scene that used to happen and what people wanted. And we just kind of went from there. And, I was like, these are the bands that people really want to see. And we're going to start out and do these releases. And we contacted everyone, and everyone was on board right away. And super excited about it. They were just like, wow, like I can't believe like you're having us, be part of this. And I'm like, yeah, 'cause you're great, like you're great, and you were a huge force in this scene. So
and we're slowly doing the same in the next month and a half for New Jersey, where I'm from. There's a couple of bands that just stumbled on unreleased, demos and stuff that I've been friends with forever and looked up to. And we're about to do, in the next month and a half, the second version, the East Coast version.
The East Coast version. That's exciting. And how hard is the process of like, so the record, like, what are they giving you these recordings on? I doubt that they have them like on on tape. I mean, I'm sure they have it like on DAT or MP3. How are they handing over the sounds?
We get the waves.
Okay.
We send wave files, and the late cuts are mono. So some of them, I have a buddy. We do a test press, see how it sounds.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them we have to fold the master to make it mono to sound better. Some of them just sound great as is.
Wow.
The lathe cuts run about 80% fidelity. So there's a little extra crinkles and crackles like how you heard on yours, and but that's because we're using 75-year-old machines, rebuilt 75-year-old machines.
And so this first batch of Bakersfield bands is it's Red Adair, right?
Yeah.
Mission Tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm forgetting the last one.
Aerospace Space Cadet.
Okay. You know what? So I was on the music scene, like I was watching it really good. The early 90s, like when Mental Brew first got formed, and there was all these great shows at was it Bam Bam still at that point? And then I got into a really bad meth addiction, and I kind of just like fell out of the scene. Like I still knew everybody, but I would rather be like in someone's garage doing meth instead of going out and seeing shows. And it was like in about 2003, 2004 that I kind of like came out of the woodworks and I started seeing Bakersfield bands again. And I saw like one of the first time, and it was probably one of their last shows, and it was at Stramber Park. Maybe it was a Rock and Roots festival. I saw Mission Tonight, and they fucking blew me away. I was just like, God dang, these guys are amazing. And then that just really, then I started like a local music blog, and I was writing about all the local Bakersfield bands. And I came on like at a really great time, because like I said, unfortunately, like Mission Tonight was kind of finishing at that point, but like Gramercy Riff, the Filthies, Stereotactic, Diary, all of those bands were hitting at that point.
Yeah.
And it was a really great time. So this brings me to my list right here.
Yeah, let's hear the list.
So here's my list. I would love to see an album of the Filthies. Now the Filthies, they had great recordings on their website. They also had the best website at the time. It was like a picture of an amplifier, and then you clicked on the different knobs of the amplifier to take you to like the live shows, the audio, and those audio recordings were great. But then when they put out their CD, they re-recorded some of the songs, and they sounded a little bit different. I would love a Filthies with those original audio recordings of like those songs are great, like Donut Shop. I can't even think of all the titles right now. I would love a vinyl of Gramercy Riff's Candid or Optimism. I can't remember the name of the album, but they put out a great CD, and it had, I can't remember the song titles, but I played that CD over and over and over and over again. I also think that the Iron Outlaws put out a CD like in 2006, 2007, and it's freaking perfection.
Yeah, the Iron Outlaws are great.
And I think about once every,
right?
No. That's like
I think about once every 18 months, I email Cesario, and I'm like, Cesario, it's still not on Spotify or iTunes. What is going on? And he'll respond like, soon, brother, soon. And I'm like, all right.
It's a good Cesario impersonation. One of the best
soon,
I've ever
brother,
heard.
soon. And then I think that the only way to do Mental Brew justice is a Mental Brew live at Sandrini's. Like it has to be like a live album.
Was there a live at Sandrini's record?
They have like a live, there's some live tracks of them from Slow Brewery, like in the early, like mid to early 90s, that they have out. There's a 7-inch of it, some tiny label put it out. And I think that why haven't Jay Smith and Chris Bourbon done some kind of project together? Or maybe they have, and I just don't know about it.
Chris is part of the family. Chris does as much work as me and Beth do with Revolution Vintage.
Really? Well,
he's the unsung, the soft, quiet hero.
you know what? And he does so much. And I had the greatest talk with Chris, unfortunately, at the funeral service for Joe Vasquez, our brother, Joe Vasquez. And he was telling me about meeting Joe and playing with Joe and just playing music. And he finished the conversation by looking at me, and we both just had tears in our eyes. And he looked at me, he's like, I just love music, man. I just love music. And that is that really endeared, like I loved Chris before that, but that really endeared him like a little brother to me. And ever since he said that, like I pay real close attention to like the care and precision and the love that he puts into everything he does. Absolutely. And yeah, he deserves some kind of like something needs to be. We need to be able to hold something of Chris's, and
it's
and I think it should be a side project with Jay Smith.
Yeah, Jay Smith is great. I just met Jay the other day. We did some shirts for him.
Oh really? Yeah.
I'm excited to see him at the live stream next week.
And then just some bands that I thought of while you were talking. The Bird Channel. When you mentioned the Gate, the Bird Channel, like Missy Wiggins band, and then goddamn, Ty Elam could have a whole box set.
Yeah, like that was like one of the things that like we were kind of talking about, because I was excited to show him like Bones of Brundage, and so he could learn about our past seated stuff. And then in talking about like these older bands, I was like, we've got to do something like that's like, I would love to do like a Cradle of Thorns release under the thing. Like I would love it.
They sell on eBay. Like I see Cradle of Thorns stuff on eBay and Discogs all the time. And I can't bring myself to buy it because like in the back of my head, I'm thinking there's going to be something eventually that's going to be, I mean, I'm not knocking these 92, 93 pressings of Cradle of Thorns with the girl on the cover, right? Remember the that's like a red cover, and she's at the Union Cemetery, the girl on the cover. I'm not knocking those, but I know that I just know that there's going to be something in the future that's going to do that whole era justice, and that because I don't really play, like I have a handful of CDs, but I don't really play them. Like I went back to vinyl about 5 years ago, and I haven't looked back, and to hear that you guys are doing this project, I just was like beside myself, and I talked my poor roommate's ear off. Who I love her to death, but she's a millennial from Sacramento, and she's like, she loves music and everything, but it just like the whole Bakersfield Sound thing, it just kind of doesn't hit her, the way it does us, obviously.
Yeah. And that's like a lot of people, like they don't, like you hear a lot of shit being talked about Bakersfield, and you tell anyone, you're like, oh, I'm from Bakersfield, and they're like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But like they don't really understand that, like, no, like Bakersfield's a powerhouse for music, because we have, like I said, that thing of that family aspect where everyone's playing with each other, everyone's learning from each other, everyone has these ideas, and they're like, let's put them together, and everyone works with each other and supports each other, and that's huge. That's huge to have. And it's not everyone, my band's gonna be better than yours, my band's gonna do more of this. Like, no, everybody works together, and it makes it amazing. Yeah,
there really was that. Sammy, is where you're from in New Jersey. Is it similar to that? Because like New Jersey doesn't have.
It's highly illegal for me to tell you how good New Jersey is. Somebody will show up and assassinate me if I tell you. New Jersey's the exact same thing. Everybody, if you've ever been to New Jersey and you're not from New Jersey, you take the one road with the oil refineries on both sides. But before I came out here, I was living 5 doors in from the ocean, and a state forest was a mile west of me.
Wow, that's crazy.
And it's beautiful and it's gorgeous. And the music scene there is very similar to Bakersfield. it's pretty incestuous, especially the Asbury Park scene, with the singer-songwriter circle. Like, you know, there's one fiddle player everybody uses, a lot like Bakersfield with Jordan Bellardes, right? There's two guys that can play pedal steel or lap steel, and they're on in every project. And there's one really great double bass player. But yeah, the Jersey music scene is very, very beautiful. And right now, the Americana thing is thriving, and there's always been a great punk scene, and I think if I say any more, somebody will actually kill me.
That's crazy. I'm a huge Springsteen fan, and when I read his book recently when it came out about a year ago, and he talks about like how when he's describing the Jersey bar scene of like how much work they were able to get like from Thursday through like I think he said like from Thursday night through Saturday night that they could do like 16 sets, like, you know, like 3 sets a night, and how like the work was just nonstop in every bar, and how they didn't have to drive a long way in order to hit so many. Like it really did remind me a lot of like how he was describing it, of like the whole oh dude, it's the freaking Joe Biden fly.
It's very much like Bakersfield in the sense that you were saying, you can see a great reggae band at 6 o'clock. They're gonna be on the boardwalk in front of Pop's garage, and then you can walk literally 10 doors up, and then there's gonna be another. Then you can see the bigger bands playing at the Stone Pony, and House of Independence has something going on, and every little bar there's music everywhere, and it's all really amazing. The main difference I see from the bars scene here in Bakersfield and Jersey is that there's a lot of bands that are mixing in. They're doing a 3-hour set with 2 hours worth of covers.
Yeah.
And in Jersey, it seems to switch. There's a lot more originals in those sets. People are more receptive to the originals in Asbury Park and Jersey.
Bakersfield loves their cover bands.
Yeah.
Which is great, you know, it's, you know, there's people that's great, you know, like they're still getting to play, and that's awesome, you know, but Bakersfield definitely loves their cover bands.
It's the same up here. There's a bar out by the river, and they always have like a Tom Petty cover band or like a Fleetwood Mac cover band. The Tom Petty cover band is like that's the shit right now. Like like nobody wants to go out, and they're like, oh my god, there's a Tom Petty cover band, and I'm like, I don't know.
My life goal is to start a Tom Petty cover band and also a Johnny Cash cover band, and where you play the Johnny Cash songs like Tom Petty and the Tom Petty songs like Johnny Cash, just so I can have a band that I can call Petty Cash. That's it. That's really my life goal at this point. Start Petty Cash.
That sounds great. I would love a well, you know, just cover projects. Shoot, man. The Deacon Blues and the Abbey Roadies in Bakersfield. Did you guys ever catch wind of those guys?
No.
Oh, I would go to all.
Chris Carlton. I couldn't remember his name for a second.
Yeah, Chris Carlton is one of the best people in this freaking town, honestly, and just the genuine love for music that guy has is just like. Have you ever just sat and had a conversation with him? It's just some of my favorite conversations are with Chris Carlton.
Yeah. And
Abbey Roadies were killer. Abbey Roadies were absolutely killer. And I was fortunate enough to get to a couple years ago for the Sandrini's New Year's Eve event. We got to do like a live band karaoke kind of. They like had this thing set up where the karaoke regulars from Thursday Night Karaoke got to sing one of their songs with the band.
Oh my God, are you kidding me?
Oh God, it was amazing because we had this karaoke family. You know, Elisa would do karaoke at Sandrini's every Thursday, and we had this little family that would go every single Thursday, and it was great. And they were like, for New Year's Eve, like you get to do one of your main karaoke songs with the band, and it was just like, what? And
what'd you do?
Oh Darling.
Oh God, that's a great one.
That's my favorite one to do. So I was fortunate to get to do that one. and another one with them. And so I felt like I was like I'm in the Abbey Roadies right now. Like it was so good. Like it was so good. They're great.
Yeah, the Abbey Roadies and the Deacon Blues, like those are not easy bands to cover, because like especially the later Beatles, because they wanted their music to be more complicated. Like they wanted to stop touring and they wanted to really geek out in the studio. So like when they put together when they did the Sgt. Pepper's, they did Sgt. Pepper from beginning to end, and like Chris talked about like having to buy and learn how to play like these different instruments, like just so that the instrumentation was spot on. I'm like, who the hell does that for like a cover band show, right? But these guys, and it's so talented, man. Sammy, when did you land in Bakersfield? Like how'd you end up here?
I played a show and I met this girl with orange hair next to me, and I moved out as soon as possible.
You played a show and you didn't have gas money, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. I actually got a flat tire and got stuck here.
That's always the story.
No, I was on a tour and I had met Beth at a show, and there was something special about her. And then over the next couple months, I'm smitten. I'm a smitten kitten, man. I packed up and I left Jersey. And
we met up again in Vegas for punk rock bowling and got married 3 days later in Vegas.
Was there ever any talk of Beth leaving Bakersfield for New Jersey, or was it
always?
I mean, there's folklore. There's me hoping one day we can go back.
I mean, I'd love to. I was fortunate to get to go to the East Coast last year for the first time, and I absolutely fell in love with it. But no, I mean, like, we have the kids and stuff, and once the youngest gets a little bit older, like we're in talks about it. But for now, Bakersfield is home.
Yeah,
Bakersfield ain't bad. I mean,
no, it's not.
It's not bad. It's not bad. You know
what? You make it.
What? Every time I talk to somebody on the podcast about Bakersfield, we end up talking about the food.
Great.
What do you think of the cuisine?
I can't find a good cheesesteak.
Okay, fair. I'll give you that.
I can't find a good cheesesteak. There isn't a Jewish deli in town, and I'm like, my family's, they're all Brooklyn Jews, man. There's not that kind of pastrami here.
Right, you're absolutely right.
And it's sad to say, but Rusty's is the best pizza in town.
This is the second podcast in a row we're talking about Rusty's Pizza. Rusty's Pizza is no, right. I went to New York about 2 years ago, and the first thing I wanted when I got to New York City was like, I wanted a slice of pizza from a street corner, and I was like, oh my god.
Any street corner is 1,000 times better than.
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is.
You're there just to show you that
2 pieces of pizza.
No, or did we go to one spot?
No, as soon as we got there, we had a hot dog.
Okay.
And we went to a Broadway show, and as soon as the show was done, we went and had the slice of pizza.
Yeah, the first thing I had was a slice of pizza, and then the next day, I think I had 2 hot dogs. I had a sandwich from a Jewish deli.
Yeah,
and
we went and got cheesecake.
Yeah, we went and got cheesecake
at Junior's.
Okay.
Oh no, at Carmine's. We went to Carmine's and got cheesecake.
You know what I miss about Bakersfield that I cannot find in Sacramento is like I can't find good biscuits and gravy in Sacramento.
Oh yeah,
that's a weird thing. That's like here and not in most places in California too. I think that's the Okie. The Okie.
That's the Okie. Yeah, that's the Mexican Okie thing. Is like you get biscuits and gravy, and they're not going to look at you funny when you put tapatio sauce on them.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. My family thrives on biscuits and gravy, man. That's all we had growing up.
And tapatio.
Yeah. What's some of the records that you grabbed a little while ago and you're showing us?
What do we got here? We got the Appletons new record.
I love this one.
Came out cool.
It's just so nice.
Oh my gosh, that's beautiful.
So that one just came out. This is a band that myself and a bunch of guys from a band called the Slackers and our friend Happy are in. It's called Sick and Mad. It's really avant-garde and Beastie Boys-y.
Like early punk Beastie Boys-y or like
yeah.
Okay.
Like Egg Right on Mojo, kind of.
Yeah.
And it's a super lo-fi record. We did it in a basement, and it was the second time I got to record with them, but the first time they let me do whatever the hell I wanted.
Okay.
So instead of using a drum kit, we used a bucket of chains on a song, and we're banging on piano benches.
Very Nine Inch Nails.
Yeah. They let me make the Swordfish Trombone Tom Waits record with a punk band.
That's awesome.
Those are the ones that I think we have in stock right now. The way we work is we make records and we sell them out.
Because we do limited runs.
Yeah.
The thing about the piece is that everything is DIY, everything is handmade, and everything is very limited. So when you're getting this record, you're getting like this collectible piece, essentially.
Definitely. I am so looking forward to owning that mission. So I ordered a mission tonight. And the other day I ordered a tote bag.
Yeah.
So
that's coming, right?
Yeah. No, I already got the tracking.
That's coming.
Yeah.
We appreciate it. Yeah, it's been kind of wild. It's been wild to kind of see like all the merch and the things and the, going out. So
how did it feel the first time that you guys put up an LP and it sold out, and how long did it take for it to sell out?
The fastest one was the Pie Tasters live record that we just did, and that was
3 hours.
Less than 3 hours, and we
sold
moved 100 in
less than 3 hours.
Wow!
And
I'm looking at it on your Instagram page over here.
Yeah, that was wild. That was really the moment for me of going like, wow, like we're actually doing something like to work with. It's like to be able to work with the Pie Tasters.
And at that point, did you already have 100 pressed, or you had supplies to press 100? Like,
we have somebody that does all the records for us, a dear friend. So we essentially just call our friends and bands that we like and cold call some people, and say, hey, we want to do this. We're going to run it as a pre-order, and we will give you X amount of money, which is a lot of money. We take enough money to to pay for pizzas for pack days and shipping supplies. And so the whole point about doing this and why it really jumped was because we wanted to help all of our friends that are stuck without work.
Yeah.
So many friends like the Pie Tasters, they just bought a new van like 2 weeks before quarantine. There's no,
there's no shows.
It's been they haven't played a show this year, right? And how do you, everybody has studio spaces, and the bigger bands have storage units, and this is our way of sort of helping our friends, but also trying to get our favorite records in our collection.
Yeah. And doing it the pre-order way, it makes it so they're not having to front a bunch of money in order to get these records out, because they sell themselves in the process.
Right.
So they can put it out, and it's so that they don't have to do anything out of pocket, and it's strictly helping them make some money.
And in all the cases, right, it's stuff that they already had recorded, right? It's
some of it is new.
Some of it is brand new.
The Appletons was a new record.
Okay.
The Vic and the Forthrights live, the bootleg has been around, but it hasn't been out in a while. That's a set from like 15 years ago. Next Scars is one new song. It's an old song and then an acoustic version that was new. Danny Rebel came out about 2 weeks before we pressed the vinyl.
Okay.
The Pie Tasters, that's the first time outside of a live stream they did. That music's available. Looking over at the board there.
Yeah.
There's two brand new records for October that are coming out, and one that never got released on vinyl. December is a couple of very old records from Texas rock and roll bands and punk bands that never came out. We got a lot of records coming out.
That's exciting. So this is
just on the plate right now.
Sounds like this is just the beginning right here, right?
Yeah, and the cool thing with having them be only 50 presses or 25 presses, we can put out 8 to 10 records in a month, because they're gone in a couple hours. Like Stop the Presses sold out in a day and a half.
A day and a half, yeah.
So, and we agree to only make X amount of records. We all kind of decide, with a max of 100, no more than 100.
Yeah, yeah.
But even for that, like for the Appletons, we made 100 records. We split it up into 2 pressings, so the jackets are different and the colors of the labels are different. So that typically is a second pressing, right? Some things like the Pie Tasters, we knew we were going to do 100, so we just ran 100. And now we're trying to work it a little different, where like the 2 new records that were smaller presses are 25 and 50. I already paid for them there at the press, so that they are getting done. So there's no less lag time. So like our Halloween release, like we'll be shipping that day.
Yeah.
So there's not as much of a wait.
Because we're gonna have a Halloween release.
Because we gotta have a Halloween release.
Yeah. Sounds about right. Yeah, definitely gotta have a Halloween release. Sammy, I wanted to talk about you really quick. What was it like getting recognized and spoken about by Rolling Stone magazine? What was that like? What did that hit you out of the blue? Was it something like, oh, they talked to me a year and a half ago and it finally, like, what? How did that?
I wrote a note to somebody on Twitter that I realized was following me. It was like, oh my God, you're the guy that writes these articles. Is it cool if I send you my song? Can you just give me I didn't ask like, can you put it in Rolling Stone? I was like, can you just give the 7-inch a listen and let me know if it's cool, if it's worth just your opinions, right? And, I emailed it to him, a couple days went by, and then he emailed me back and said, these songs are great. What can I do to help?
Are you serious? How many times did you read that?
A couple times. And then, yeah, waking up and having it, I work with adults with special needs here, and I'm sitting in class working with them, and my phone starts vibrating. And it goes for like 5 minutes because the post went up. And it was just, it's so cool. That's everybody in a band's dream, is, you know, to be on the cover of the Rolling Stone, right?
I just rewatched Almost Famous the other night.
Yeah, that's exactly what was going on through my head.
We watched
cover
it.
of the Rolling Stone.
I watched it the day before it was, because I knew it was going to come out that Friday and like, or that Monday, and like I knew the estimated time, and I feel like Sunday night we ended up watching it, or I watched it while you were out doing something, and it was it's wild.
That's, congratulations, man. That is awesome. When I was a kid, Rolling Stone magazine was growing up in Lamont, growing up in Bakersfield, it was my outlet to what real rock and roll was, you know?
Yeah, I had that subscription for years.
It's still my outlet to what real, like I literally check Rolling Stone every day. Like I pay for the digital edition, so I can see all the articles and read about everything going on.
I paid for the digital edition a couple years ago because I wanted to reread some of the old articles that I remembered reading when I was a freshman, sophomore in high school. Like I still, like whatever Anthony DeCurtis told me to buy, I bought.
Yeah.
You know, and I absolutely trusted their opinion, you know.
Whenever Joseph Hudek, I think that's how you say his name, he does a lot of the country and the Americana stuff.
Okay.
Whenever he posts anything, I make sure to read it and give it a listen, because that's how I found out about Tyler Childers, and I really fell in love with Sturgill Simpson and Isbell and all those bigger Americana guys, like, and even the little guys, I found out through him.
Yeah. It was a trip to realize that you were from New Jersey and not Bakersfield, because when I first heard your track, like you're like the tone, the raspiness of the voice, I was like this guy's from Bakersfield too, but you're not.
I know.
But you still have that. I mean, I don't want to label your sound the Bakersfield sound, but it's still reminiscent of that, you know?
Yeah, and you know, Springsteen was trying to make those country records a little bit, you know, with Nebraska and some of the 90s stuff, the late 80s, early 90s stuff. That like
I love Nebraska. Listen to it when I have to be in a mood to listen to Nebraska.
I just listen to it.
I have to be in a mood to listen to
Nebraska is my movie.
Really? Oh man, I love Nebraska. But I love Tunnel of Love is my favorite Springsteen album.
I have been trying so hard to fall in love with that early 90s, late 80s. And I enjoy it, but it doesn't hit me like The Rising does. Like I love new Springsteen.
Yeah, the Rising is great. The Rising, I don't have it on vinyl yet, but I recently my most recent Springsteen vinyl purchase is Ghost of Tom Joad.
That's another part of this era that it hasn't like
really
smacked me across the face yet, like how Greetings did, or Nebraska, or The Rising, or I absolutely love Devils and Dust. That's
really
one of my favorites.
I was so fortunate enough to see Springsteen one night. I've seen him saw him 7 times. I saw him in New York on Broadway. I'm still paying off that credit card.
Yeah, I tried so hard. I have a family member that works in the industry, in the Broadway industry, and he can get tickets sometimes, but she casters in for herself.
Oh,
please,
do you blame her?
please write a note. I would love to see this. And she got me tickets, and it was like the 1 week of the year that I was on tour, or that month. And I needed to go on tour, and I needed the money, and it was a good support thing. And
yeah.
I almost canceled it to go.
Yeah, but what I was gonna say is, I saw Springsteen. I think it was the Devils and Dust era. Saw him at the LA Sports Arena. Tom Morello came out and did Ghost of Tom Joad with him, and then later on in the night, Mike Ness of Social Distortion came out, and they did that Social Distortion song. I can't even think of the title.
I think they usually do Bad Luck together.
That's
right?
what it's called, Bad Luck. Yes, they did Bad Luck
I worked
together.
at a festival in New Jersey called See Here Now. I do a lot of merch work for festivals. I work for one company in particular called The Bright Pursuit. And last year, 2 years ago, Social D was a headliner one night, and they brought up Bruce for he played almost the whole set, like a good 45 minutes of the hour and 15 set. He was just up there ripping. It was so cool.
Yeah, because that's when you strip down when you take everything away from Springsteen, when you take away the Americana and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, dude, he's a bar band. He shreds. This is what he does.
Yeah. It's unnatural how phenomenal he is.
Yeah.
And how.
So you've always kind of been in the industry and working for other people, like you said, you did merch, you did.
Yeah, I started sort of going on the road at 15, 16 with bands, local bands that would go to Chicago and back, and do Friday, Saturday, Sunday, get back for work.
Okay. And what
doing that young, and then I was always in bands, but nothing hit until I was maybe 18, 19. And that's when we started really touring. And then from there, I've always been on the road, at least 150, 200 shows a year.
So what's it like to finally take all of that knowledge, all of that experience, and put the Revolution Vintage brand on it instead of somebody else's brand on it, and seeing you know what I'm saying?
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool I've been on a couple of really phenomenal DIY indie labels, and Panic State Records and Say 10 Records in particular. Stomp Records as well. They're a subsidiary, though. They have major label funding. And I'm so grateful that we can do that for bands like Nine Fingers, or this gentleman called Jeremy White from Virginia, where I can give them exactly what these little labels gave me when I started. When I was 18, 19, first record, and because I don't know everything, but I know a little bit of something, you know, I can help guide these guys and just give them little tips to remember for down the road, you know.
Right. And it seems that like what you're bringing that to the table, and then what Beth is bringing to the table is like the fans' perspective, right? Of like, this is what we would want, and this is how we would like to see it.
Yeah. I think that's both of us really, though, because what we want or what we want to see, what we want to hear, because we're just all music nerds at this point. Like,
yeah, let's just quote Chris Bourbon, and like, we just like music, man.
Yeah, we just like that's like all I know. You know, yeah, that's literally everything I've done in my life is all based on music. The shop itself is based around music and the fashion that I loved seeing these bands and stuff. And even the name Revolution Vintage comes from the T-Rex song Children of the Revolution, you know?
Yeah, it's super cool, and I love your guys' merch. I thank you for sending me these really cool stickers.
Yeah.
I have one on my fridge, I have one on my laptop, and I have like 3 just like as a backup that I don't
the place. Yeah.
I don't know what I'm gonna do with them. I have a bunch of my own swag and merch because I do comedy, and I produce comedy and produce improv shows. I do my own comedy, so I have some swag. I'm gonna send you guys just as like as a thank you, because I grew up that kid reading Rolling Stone magazine, going to shows, you know, trying to buy a T-shirt or trying to find a button and a pin. So like now, like I take that pride and care when I'm doing like my own merch and my own marketing. I'm wearing a shirt of my friends, their sketch comedy team, the Love Horrors, and like even these like this logo was designed by a local guy in Sacramento. The T-shirts are printed by a local company here in Sacramento. So I'm doing everything that I can DIY myself, and because like you know, we didn't grow up in a fancy town like LA or like Fort Lauderdale, Florida, right? We grew up in Jersey, and we grew up in Bakersfield, and we grew up like this is how we did it, right? So
yeah, 100%.
Guys, it's been a pleasure talking to you guys, and
yeah, it's been fun.
I'm so excited to have like cross paths with you guys, and I'm glad that because I just like with everything, like I thought about messaging you guys for about 6 weeks before I finally but then like I didn't want to talk to you guys until I knew enough to have a good conversation with you guys. You know what I'm saying? Like I wanted this conversation, and I really felt like we had a really great conversation today.
Oh yeah.
And we talked about
we'll do another one, just me and you, for Springsteen. We'll just
dude,
8 to 10 hours. Do you think we need to talk about Springsteen?
We could do like an album at a time.
I could probably talk about some of those records for 3 or 4 hours.
I could definitely, my absolute all-time favorite Bruce Springsteen song is Backstreets.
Oh,
I can fucking listen to that song over and over and over, and like just the friendship that he describes in that, and like trying to learn how to walk like the heroes we thought we had to be. God damn. That is such a great lyric, you know, like
that is one of the best.
Yeah, I absolutely love Springsteen. A name I wrote down earlier, because when we were talking about all the Bakersfield greats, I wrote down Mark DeLeon, just because I felt that his name should be mentioned. just if we were mentioning all these other guys, and we talked about 18th Street, like I just felt that. I don't have any Mark DeLeon tattoos, but I did get this Depeche Mode tattoo I did get this done at Mad Dog Tattoo. Billy Vaughn from Swag 666 did this one. George Quick Jr. did this one.
Oh yeah, I have some George Quick.
Aaron Flores did this one. So I got Bakersfield like in my blood and on me, man. So it's been great chatting with you guys. Best of luck with everything you do. Please reach out to the guys from Gramercy Riff. I would love to listen to that. I recently found a Gramercy Riff live at Jerry's video, and it's about 19 minutes long, and it's perfection. It's perfection.
Yes,
And
post it.
there's also some Gramercy Riff live at the Silver Fox floating around on YouTube. And
Those are the days.
the Silver Fox was great, man. God, I miss that place. So many great shows, and like, you know, you'd be watching the show and like somebody hit you in the back with a cue stick because like somebody's still trying to play pool while the set's going on. But okay, let me say goodbye for the third time.
Like I said, we could go more hours. We talk.
Yeah. It's been great talking with you guys. I cannot wait to hold that mission tonight and to play it and wake up the neighbors on a Saturday morning. And I can't wait to rock my Revolution vintage tote. And just good luck to you guys, and we'll definitely keep in touch. I'll be in
Thank you for having us.
I'll be in town in December, and I'll definitely swing by the shop.
Let's
Yeah.
get a cup of coffee.
Yeah, definitely. All right, guys. Love you guys. Take care, man. Good luck with
Thank you
everything.
so much.
All right, peace out, man.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.